Hey, this is Andrew Lim inviting you to go out on a limb. Ciao from Bari. Yes, I'm here in Bari, which is the biggest city in Puglia, if I'm not mistaken, home to about 300,000 plus Italians. Just here, going to be here for a few days. I actually came from Lecce, so I'm going to park here in Bari for a few days. So we are going to explore Bari together. Really excited. Well, first of all, I rented a place here. It's amazing because it offers a long balcony where I can actually either sit here and look at people and criticize them, or just look at hanging laundry dry, which is what people do here. There's no dryer; they just actually hang the laundries here, and it will go dry. I mean, because the weather here is really conducive to dry laundry naturally. So I'm gonna try that myself as well. But yeah, so Bari is actually really interesting. I think at first impression, it's a much bigger city than Lecce, so there's obviously more to do here, so I'm really excited. So come go on a limb with me and we will check out Bari together, and hopefully we'll find some great places to eat as well. Folks, before we start, kindly hit the subscribe button and the notify button for new contents that I upload weekly. Grazie mille. So Bari is really interesting. It has an old town square with a little fountain that people actually love to come just to check it out. But it's really not about the historical sites in Bari. I feel like it's the energy. And of course, the old town square is definitely worth checking out when you're here. It's filled with restaurants, cafes, and people just hanging out, especially at night. So the Italians here observe siesta, so if you come between 3 and 5, most places are closed. Fortunately, the bakery that I love, that's filled with pasticciotto of different kinds with different fillings, are actually open during siesta. But of course, when you come at night, you see that the old town square bursts into life with a lot of locals just hanging out, standing on the streets, eating and drinking. Apparently, they just love to crowd the streets when the weather is nice. I think it's a Puglia thing, maybe. Not really in Lecce. I didn't see that in Lecce. With about 2,000 years of history, Bari certainly has a lot to offer, especially the old town. That's definitely worth the visit when you're here. And here you have cobblestone street, just narrow, windy streets filled with restaurants, with local living here as well. It's definitely vibrant, especially if you come in the evening, that everyone is actually here just to eat or just stroll along the streets and just kind of soak in the old town ambience of Bari. Of course, this city has its fair share of cathedrals, and the most popular one is actually known as Bari Cathedral. I mean, despite its longer name, this is the common name. It's worth a visit. But if you ask me, I think it's about the street life that makes Bari interesting. For example, any street you go to, you see nonas or grandmothers making pasta, from their house and selling it in front of their house, which is really unique, I think, especially in this part of Italy. But if you want to see classic tourist site, there's actually a castle for you to see here in Bari as well. The castle was actually built in 1132 by Norman King Roger II, and it's actually a museum today. Very typical of Italy, you stumble upon a site with no labels that's at least 1,000 years old. Such is a site here we stumble upon in Bari. Of course, when you're traveling as fellow yogis, all we did was a backbend just to commemorate our discovery of this unknown, at least 1,000 years old site. The thing about Bari is you don't find one distinguished building that's world famous, but you find little neighborhoods or areas like here, by the Adriatic Sea. We call this the port area. That's actually worth a stroll. I mean, it has a nice walkway. It's an elevated walkway for people to come and stroll, take a walk, especially at sunset. This is a really nice area to actually walk and relax and enjoy the city. The port of Bari is traditionally considered Europe's door to the Balkan Peninsula as well as the Middle East. and it's beautiful at night, and also it really comes to life at night with tons of people just crowding here, hanging out, or even eating food. So if you come during the day along the promenade, you also see local fishermen selling their catch of the day here, making this a makeshift fish market. And at night, if you walk along the promenade, it's definitely a beautiful walk. It's well lit, and you can actually go for at least 1.5 miles along this path just to enjoy the night of Bari. So like any typical European city, there's always a street that's closed off to traffic that is a shopping street, and Via Sparano de Bari is that street here in Bari. And here on this street, you actually find many different recognizable brands that's international. You also find kind of street arts that's really beautiful. People just sketch on the ground for the day. That's it. I mean, seriously, it's a museum quality kind of art. If you wanted to do some bargain shopping like the locals, Via Napoli Market is a market held every Monday, an outdoor market that's outside the city center that you can actually find housewares, clothing, or even furniture. Hey, buongiorno from Bari. It's a Monday morning and we are here at the street market on Via Napoli. It's actually one of the biggest combination of morning market, flea market, where you sell really affordable clothing. Locals come to shop for home stuff, home goods, produce. I think on the other side, it's a huge market. Like I said, you can find furniture here, although delivery is not included. Just figure out how to get it home yourself. You can also find housewares at a really reasonable price. Now it's time to eat. Sapori Solari, which is located near Old Town, is definitely worth visiting. It's actually known for its meat, especially steak, but for non-beef eater, you'll find great food like a plate of fresh asparagus, the amazing, delicious Iberico pork ribs. This was really good. And this delicious plate of pork ragu pasta. Yes, you heard me right. Pork ragu pasta. So delicious. And of course, like having a balcony with our Airbnb, we decided to cook most of the night because people watching is fun, and of course, like they were watching us too because there were not many Asians in town. But evening really comes to life here in Bari with people dining al fresco style here in Old Town, and landmarks, lit up beautifully for people to enjoy, like this theater here in the city. And of course, people really love to come out, especially on the weekend. As you can see, there are people packing, just the streets, the street corners, just everywhere. The promenades, the shopping streets, just people everywhere. They just want to be outside. And it is this energy coupled with the city's history that makes Bari worth the visit when you're here in Puglia.